So in this week's episode, I've decided to share with everybody a tour of my Notion setup. Notion is basically this amazing app that can help you stay organized, and as someone that works full-time, studies full-time, and is also a little bit of a content creator, this is my key for how I stay on top of all of these things. And so in this week's video, I'm going to keep things super low-key. I'll start off by sharing what Notion looks like, and I'll explain to you briefly how to use it if you have no idea what it is. I'll give you a very simple explanation, and then I'm going to delve into what my actual Notion account looks like and how I use it to stay really organized, to give you inspiration if you're wanting to get into Notion. Okay, so let's just get straight into it. Alright, so definitely feels a little bit vulnerable to be sharing this. I guess Notion is kind of like a diary or a planner, but let's have a little look. So this is what my Notion account looks like. And I guess for people who are new and have never used Notion before, the best way to describe it is it's sort of like your own personalized website that you can design however you like. This is what mine looks like, and it's very unique to you. The cool thing about it is you can literally build it and create it from scratch, and I think when you look at it for the first time, it seems a little bit overwhelming. It's actually really easy to use once you get into the flow of it. So I'll give a quick rundown. Basically, yeah, this is like my landing page, my life hub. So you can see over the side here, my life hub, and underneath my life hub is lots of different pages that take you to different information that's relevant to me that I've created, just like a website would. And to build this stuff, you only need to use one function, and it's really straightforward. It's basically type the dash for commands, and then you command it to build stuff. So if I want to create a heading, I put in that dash, and then I can create a heading. So I could call like life goals, whatever I wanted to. And then I could color that in. So I could make the words pink. Let's cross that out. I could also create a new page. So this is what a blank page looks like. Let's make one called book notes, and I'll stick in the little icon of a book. And then I could give it a cover page if I wanted. And then underneath, I could chuck in whatever information that I wanted to. So I want to keep this really simple. Perhaps I might put like a heading, book 1, and then I might put some notes underneath it. So I could put some bullet notes about the book. That is important information. And then if we go back to my life hub, you can see that book notes is now under my life hub as one of the pages that I can go to. I'm going to cross that out because I don't want to keep that. But that's just a little example of how to actually use this command. So if you're brand new to Notion, you've never used it before, I'd encourage you to have a look at people's Notion setups. There's definitely tons out there that are really cool. See what other creators are doing, and you can get some inspiration and also play around with it for yourself, find out what you like, and eventually you'll come up with your own amazing Notion setup. Okay, so I have split my Notion up into 4 sections. I've got Journey to Growth. This is a pretty personal section. Academic, relating to my study, social media, and underneath life, which is really just very broad. Oh, and at the bottom I've got some links. So I'll just go through each section and explain how it works to give you a bit of a sense. Back when I was using a diary, I used to fit goals into my week. So I'd work out what I wanted to do, and I'd try and fit it all into my week, and I'd often run myself dry. Like, I'd often pick so much to do and I wouldn't budget my time very well. However, since using Notion, if we have a little look, you can see that it's split into my yearly goals, quarterly goals, monthly goals, weekly goals, and today, so daily goals. And rather than fitting my goals into my week, instead, I fit my time into my goals. So this system helps me work out how much time this stuff needs realistically and work towards that. So if we have a little look at monthly goals, typically on a Sunday evening or whatever day is the last day of the month, I will sit down and work out what I want to get done for that month that's aligned to my quarterly and yearly goals. So these are my February goals, and I will categorize it under social media, my study, and my personal life, or like my personal admin. So I'll sit down and I'll do all of that, and then I'll actually put it on a whiteboard as well, which sits in my kitchen so that I can look at it and be reminded of it throughout the month. And then if we go back to my life hub, you'll see that, of course, after I've done the monthly goals, I break it up into the weekly goals. So again, I've got that life admin, social media, study, and usually again on a Sunday night, I will sit down and work out what I want to get done that week. I'm going to admit, I don't always do this. I'll usually do it every second or third day. I'll just sit down and work out, okay, what am I actually going to accomplish today? What am I going to get done? What's realistic? And one thing that I really like about doing it this way is that it allows me to be adaptive, because inevitably life comes up, things go wrong, so it just gives me some space to reshuffle my priorities for the week if I need to. And then by the end of the month, when all of this is done, hopefully all of this gets ticked off, I'll have a little look at January. I turn it into a page basically, and you can see January, I got like all my goals done except for one. That was an amazing month. That doesn't often happen. That was a really good month. And that's where I leave it. So I no longer have to look at it, it's out of sight, and my next set of goals are now more prominent for the month ahead. So that's my organizational system in a nutshell. It's simple, it lets me zoom in and out, and it works for me. So if we come to the next section, academic, I'm not going to go through all of these, but just to give you a little bit of a layout if you're a student as well, I put the first tab in as like general information about my course, which goes for 2 years. These are just things that I want to keep in mind, things that I want to be wary of. What I'm doing is study that complements me becoming a fully registered psychologist, so it's not like a university degree, it's just assessment pieces that I have to do to earn my full registration. So I've put in chunks of information that is really helpful for me to know, just everything that I felt was relevant as a quick overview of what I'm doing. It is a little bit messy, but sometimes life is messy. So if we go back, underneath, this is where it gets neater. I've put in all the required tasks that I have to get done over the next 2 years. And as you can see, I'm slowly ticking it off. I can actually tick these off, which is great. And then if we go down again, I've got these blocks that I've put in for all the tasks I want to get done over the 6-month block that I've set. So my latest block is September to February 2023, nearly at the end of this block. That means I've got nearly 1 year left to study, which is a little bit nerve-wracking. Still got lots to do. So I set myself things that I want to do over that 6-month block. I've got a little calendar as well to help me stay on track. And then underneath at the very bottom, I've got my National Psychology Exam study plan. I've made a whole other video on this, so I will leave a little link to that if you want to go and check it out. This is basically everything I have to study and know very well for the exam. It's quite a lot. And then underneath I've got my social media section, so you can see my video outlines. This is where I do all my scripts. I tend to do that in Notion. Then I've also got my YouTube timeline. This is where I have like a bit of an idea of dates for when I want to release what, and also ideas for videos. I'm not going to go into those pages though because it's a little bit more personal. And then at the bottom I've got my life section. I really like this part. So as you can see, I've got all these little lists, and this is basically where I chuck inspiration or ideas for things whenever I come up with them, or whenever someone recommends something to me. This is where I put it all so that I stay organized. Got a little picture as well of me with some friends. And if we have a little look at the top one, the reading list, so if someone recommends a good book to me, I will just chuck it in here. And yeah, then I can go back to this list if I need to look up a book that I want to start reading. If I want some inspiration, this is where I go and get it. And it's the same for the other things. So if I have any recipes that I come across that I think that looks amazing, I want to make that down the track, I can go into my recipe page. I have put in a fancy table here. This was when I was trying to, I think, overcomplicate Notion. I prefer to keep it simple these days, but if I click on the link, it'll take me straight to this amazing recipe which I have not tried to make yet, so maybe I will have a look at this. So yeah, you can see it for all the other things like a podcast list, online courses. Important is just like important bits of information that I need to know, date ideas, travel and event planning, workout ideas. And then at the very bottom, this is kind of like my brain dump list, but for links that I think are interesting that I want to look into more. So rather than keeping a Google page open with tons of tabs, I will just chuck in a link that I think is interesting and leave it at the very bottom of my Notion to go back and have a look at. So yeah, that was my Notion tour in a nutshell. And yeah, I just hope that this was a helpful starting block. Anyway, that is everything from me for today. I hope that you have an amazing week and I will talk to you soon. Bye!